Well met everyone, I am Rich the Lich, and today I want to show you a video that was put out earlier this morning by D&D Beyond. This is an official WotC video, I guess, by the designers of Wizards of the Coast, where they are talking about a new specialty, subclass specialization for wizards. This is called the Onomancy Wizard, or Onomancy Wizard, where it is dealing with the ability for a wizard to discern the true name of a thing. Of course, I'm reminded of The Name of the Wind, the Patrick Rothfuss novels, and the trilogy, I think it's the Kingkiller Chronicles. Things of that nature, where if you know the true name of something, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just shut up here real quick. I'm going to put the video on screen. I'll let you watch it. It's about 5 minutes or so by the time I fast forward it a little bit. And then I'll talk through the actual mechanical stuff of it and give you my perspective on it, whether I would actually use it in any of my games, and where it might be going for me creatively, and what are the things that I'm thinking through. So here we go.
You have a lot of Unearthed Arcana coming out, and there's a lot of interesting ones. One of them is there's a new Wizard Subclass that feels very much the stuff of Legends, correct? Tell me about this.
So this week in Unearthed Arcana, we unveiled Onomancy, a tradition of wizardry that focuses on the magic of true names. Now, true names, of course, are a big deal in real-world folklore. This idea that you can gain special power over someone or something by knowing its true name. This motif appears in many folktales, in many fantasy stories. It's even something that already is in D&D. There is some commentary about true names in the Monster Manual. Demons don't like their true names being used. And so we thought, as has been done before in D&D's past, that we would explore Onomancy as a form of magic, and in this case specifically for the wizard. And so what we did is we created this subclass that allows the wizard to gain advantages over particular targets by knowing their true name. Now, one of those advantages is literally having advantage, them having disadvantage on some of their rolls because you have uttered their true name.
Which is already so mean.
Yes,
it's very powerful. I mean, of course, that's what you want. And that's like second level.
Yeah. And we've also given this wizard a suite of different abilities that they can choose from to modify the effects of a spell, again, all relying on the wizard knowing the true name of the person they're targeting. These are things like causing it to do more damage, again, making it harder for them to save against the spell. One of my favorites is the one where we allow you to target somebody who you can't see and is even behind total cover, as long as you utter their true name and they're within range of the spell. Situational, but in particular situations, that would be horrifying. Just suddenly magic is happening to you because somewhere nearby your true name was uttered.
I love that. That almost makes you the arcane archer of wizardry in a sense. But yeah, because I know your name. You cannot hide from my magic. It's such a primordial idea of magic. Right?
And this wizard, with that primordial power, is also able to bolster allies and curse foes by using the Bless and Bane spells, which is unusual for a wizard. Those spells are typically associated with a class like the Cleric, but this wizard, thanks again to the power of knowing someone's true name, can utter like an ally's true name and use that magic to bless a group of people, or the opposite, utter a foe's true name and then cast Bane on a group of foes. And we're kind of imagining that the creature whose name is being uttered, they're serving as a conduit for those spells. And this wizard has both of those spells always prepared. They're always ready to bless people and also to curse them.
I like it because, and how it's worded, the name of someone becomes the component.
Yes. And we also, in this subclass, talk about what, in fact, is a true name. It could be your given name. Right. It could be a name you've chosen. It could be a name you've earned. If you're worried about people using your name in magic, well, then you might use a pseudonym in everyday life. There are many folktales that involve people who use names that are not actually their real name. But then we even have a note saying if you use a false name long enough, it might actually become your true name if it is the name that you associate with yourself. Like when you think of yourself, if you have enough mornings where you wake up and the name that you associate with yourself is your false one, well, then that false name might become your true name and then could be used against you by an Onomancer.
It's a good example of strangely, in my family, for some reason, all the men go by their middle name, and I have no idea why.
But maybe so that a wizard can't use your true name against you.
But also, when you think like Batman or Bruce Wayne, who is he really?
Right.
Really feels like he's Batman. You make a comic book reference to that.
Yeah, or Gandalf has a whole bunch of names.
Yes, Gandalf has so many names.
And those names are not the name that he originally had in the West when he was a divine being before being sent to Middle-earth. But then you wonder with Gandalf, has one of those names become actually his true name? I mean, we don't know. And
that transition from Gandalf the Grey to Gandalf the White, right? Mithrandir is the elven name for him.
But even that's not his original name.
That's not his real name.
Yeah.
I feel terrible that I forget his real name right now.
You have to go to the Silmarillion for that.
Yeah, no, I know.
I don't want to utter it because if I did, he might appear. And
please utter it, because if Ian McKellen pops in,
it wouldn't be Ian McKellen, it would be Gandalf.
I think Ian McKellen is his true name.
If it would summon Ian McKellen, I would say it. I would say it as many times as necessary.
Until he got very cross with you.
Yes.
So
he'd say, please, sir, stop summoning me.
What is the story that you're telling with this subclass?
So it's not only tapping into folklore about true names, but it's also tapping into the story of the wizard itself. The wizard is all about knowledge, texts, and a big part of text is the name of things. So this is a natural fit for the wizard. We, of course, could have explored Onomancy in maybe another spellcasting class, perhaps the bard, but the wizard as the spellcaster of texts. I mean, this is the only spellcaster we have where so much of their identity is about a book and libraries and things being written down. These are the spellcasters, I think, that would most master the power of the name.
it adds another dimension to magic in D&D as well for me. Like you said, like, demons not wanting their true names known, and it adds a bit of a touch of paranoia.
Yeah. And if Onomancy was turned into not only something for the wizard in a particular campaign, but a bigger deal in the campaign at large, you could imagine entire cultures where people have multiple names, and it would just be common practice that any of us might have 3, 4 names. In fact, in our world, there are actually a number of cultures where that is the case. I mean, even many of us, like I have a middle name, I never go by it, but it's kind of a fascinating cultural relic. Why do I have multiple names? And I mean, again, there are a number of answers for why, but even in our world, there are actually many well-established traditions that we don't even think about because we're so used to it, of one person having multiple names.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I love this brand of magic, and being able to change out and swap out the effect that you can place on any spell is, if you want to be the most wizardy wizard right now, that's what it feels like for me.
Right.
I can really attune my magic very specifically for a great effect, but I have to think about it ahead of time. I need to decide what kind of wizard I'm going to be using these names.
And if you are meeting somebody for the first time, you could try to get their true name out of them using your extract name feature.
Right.
If that fails, it will never work on that person again, but that doesn't mean you can't get their true name. It just means basically your shortcut got blocked, but you can now still try to get it out of them, either by being persuasive, by reading their mind, by doing some research, talking to people who know them well. You could imagine a campaign actually becoming a lot about this hunt for people's real names.
Yeah, I love it. And I would totally play that campaign. when a name becomes more important than an artifact or a powerful spell, or defeating this great creature, when you can make an entire campaign about finding certain names, that lends itself to a whole new kind of campaign. I think it's very exciting.
And I would love to see this trigger in a group of characters suddenly this awareness of, really, what is my true name?
Yeah.
Like even us as players and DMs could ponder this in the real world. When we hear our name, do we really associate ourselves with it?
All right, so what do we have? I'm going to be looking on screen here, and you'll see it pop up, what I'm talking through. So we have a new arcane tradition, right? At second level, a wizard gains the arcane tradition feature. Here is a playtest option for that feature, the tradition of onomancy or onomancy, okay? So we've got this new thing that can be another option for you if you don't like evocation, or you're just looking for something new beyond divination and conjuration specialties and so on and so forth. So what are we talking about here? So if we look at onomancy, the storyline to it, the details, the behind the scenes of it all is as follows. Practitioners of magic well know the power of names, but wizards who follow the tradition of onomancy use their magic to manipulate the words that encompass existence. Onomancers expand their study into language itself, searching for threads of magical significance that weave through names. Something that is named stands out in the multiverse, distinct from the tapestry of creation all around it. That distinction creates power that onomancers seek to tap. By speaking a target's true name, the wizard's spells slip between the cracks of the target's defenses, conforming to its essential nature through the power of its name. To protect themselves, wizards who follow this tradition often hide their own true names, typically by adopting monikers and pseudonyms. Okay? So, it's talking about how you can obtain the true name of something, or how, whether from actual effect, something that the Onomancer actually is able to do, or if it's something that was provided by the Dungeon Master, which is the exciting and sort of interesting part for me. Because while this is an arcane tradition, it's a new specialization, it's an option for a character for PC. There's mechanical things here. Obviously, it's for PCs, but there's a lot of little bits that the DM has to kind of run with in order to make something like this viable, in order to make it worthwhile for your PCs to choose this option. And I think that's sort of the reason for me making this video, is it sort of provided that spark of some things I want to talk through, okay? So, very simply, let's talk about true names, okay? And sort of this is the essence of it all. And the reason for that is because if you know the true name of any given creature, you can exploit that to take advantage of it, or to provide boons to your PCs, so on and so forth. But if you don't know the true name of something, this entire sort of arcane tradition sort of just falls flat. There's some prerequisites that need to happen first. If they happen, there's some really cool bits here, but if they don't, you're not going to get much from this class. So, onomancy, or naming magic, is a method of spellcasting that uses a creature's true name to enhance a spell's effects. A true name is the name by which a self-aware creature identifies itself. This name might be the name a person was given at birth, or one a person chose or earned later in life. Whatever a name's origin, the simplest way for you to know your true name is to think truthfully about yourself and then think, my name is... Your true name is how you finish that sentence. You can try to hide your true name by using a pseudonym, but you must be wary not to inhabit that false name too deeply. If a false name comes to be the best expression of who you are, it becomes your true name. Changing one's true name is never a quick choice. It's something that happens over time, as a name becomes the creature's truth. As a quick guide, a creature has a true name if it understands at least one language or it has an alignment. So therefore, while it requires some legwork for the DM, when you come upon an entire party of orcs and you're going to fight these guys, whereas the evocation wizard, right, their stuff automatically works. The mechanical bits of their chosen specialization and school of magic automatically works because they can simply start throwing fireballs and shaping them around PCs to not hurt them and hurting the orcs. Where here, there's a lot more sort of subtlety and a lot more nuance that needs to happen first before you can take advantage of these features against those orcs. So what would have to happen is the player that is playing the Onomancy wizard would have to say, hey, I want to use my ability to understand the true name of those orcs. It's the DM's responsibility to say, whether he has the actual list of orc names or not, because if this is not a reoccurring villain, if it's not something like I've talked about in my previous videos, where it's a major climactic battle or boss fight, oftentimes something like orcs and goblins can be sort of throwaway monsters, right? If it's a random encounter, it doesn't matter what their true names are. It's just a matter of, do you kill them? Do they kill you? They're sort of impeding your progression. They're just an obstacle to overcome. Oftentimes, the DM doesn't want to have to come up with a name for all 19 goblins. But if you don't have a true name for those 19 goblins, maybe the Onomancer is unable to affect any one of those 19 goblins in the same level that an abjuration or divination wizard could. So you can certainly handwave it and say, yes, you do know their true name, so on and so forth, okay? But let's look at how the Onomancy wizard gains the true name of something, besides the DM just blatantly saying, you've studied, you've done behind-the-scenes roleplay stuff. You've studied enough about these creatures. You know all their true names. You've fulfilled that base requirement. So first off, bonus proficiencies. A second-level feature of the Onomancy wizard is you learn one language of your choice, and you gain proficiency with calligrapher's tools. I like that, and as you saw in the video how they talked about the wizard being that studious, studying in the library, reading, writing, researching. So I like that this kind of keeps and follows with that vibe and that theme. Here's the big one. Extract name. This is a second-level onomancy feature. So as soon as you get the arcane tradition, you get this. You can magically compel a creature to divulge its true name. As a bonus action, you target one creature you can see within 60 feet of you. The target must make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. If they succeed in that wisdom saving throw, you can't use this feature on that target again, possibly ever, I think. And you discern that the magic has failed. Therefore, you don't know their true name, which would not enable certain things to now trigger. However, if they fail that save, the target is charmed by you until the end of your next turn, and you mentally learn the charmed target's name or the fact that the target lacks a name. So maybe this is something that I'm not going to be able to take advantage of these features if, as it said there in the quick guide, this thing has no true name simply because it doesn't really speak. It's sort of low intelligence, right? Things like that. It doesn't speak any languages, and it has no real alignment, okay? You can use this feature a number of times equal to your int modifier, and then you regain all expended uses of that after a long rest. Okay, so let's just assume you've targeted a creature, you know its true name, okay? Let's take a look at some of the other things you can do. Another second level feature is you can bend magic to assist or hinder creatures through the power of their true names, and even use those names as an anchor to affect others around them. So I like that you don't have to target everyone and get the true name from everyone. Therefore, especially if you're targeting the bad guys, you don't have to have every one of them fail. In this particular case, you can basically, the Bane and the Bless spells are wizard spells for you. So that's kind of cool, where normally they're previously like cleric lists and stuff like that, right? And you add them to your spellbook. Also, you always have them prepared, yet they don't count against the number of spells you can prepare each day. That's awesome. You can cast either spell without expending a spell slot, if you speak the true name of one target of the spell as part of casting it. So if you speak the true name of one target of the Bless spell, those within the details outlined by Bless and Bane, you can affect others around it by simply knowing one true name within that area. You can cast spells in this way a number of times equal to your int modifier. That's kind of cool, okay? Now here's where the sort of the meat and potatoes of the tradition is. As a 6th level Onomancer, here's what you get. You get Resonant utterance. You learn words of power called resonance, which allow you to tailor your spells through the use of a target's true name. Here you're kind of getting into the realm of sorcerer's metamagic stuff. Resonance known. When you gain this feature, you learn 2 resonants of your choice, which are detailed in the Resonant options section that I'll talk about in a moment. Each time you gain a level in this class, you can replace one of them with a different one. Cool. So you start with 2. Every time you level up, you can gain, or you can swap one out using a Resonant. You can use one Resonant whenever you cast a wizard spell with a spell slot. So that's important, right? It has to use up a spell slot. And speak the true name of one creature that is targeted by that spell. And the cool part is it's all part of it. So speaking the name is part of the casting of that spell. Okay? How many times can you use Resonance? Basically, how many times can you use this kind of meta-magic-y thing? You can use it a number of times equal to half your wizard level rounded down, and you regain all those uses at the end of a long rest. Here's some options. So remember, at level 6, you get to pick 2 of them. Okay? And then notice if I was to move down real quick, Inexorable Pronouncement, you learn 2 new ones at level 10. And every time you level up, you can always swap one out. Okay? So one of them is called Absorption. When you cast a spell that deals damage to the named target, you gain 3d6 temporary hit points. And then this increases as you level up as well. Devastation is another one of them. If the spell requires the named creature to make a saving throw, that creature has disadvantage on the first save it makes against the spell, assuming you know the true name of the creature that you're targeting. Disillusion. The first time the named creature takes damage from the spell, that creature takes an extra 2d8 force damage. Pretty cool. That damage increases as you level up as well. Nullification. If the named target is affected by any other spells, you know what those spells are, and you can attempt to end one of your choice by succeeding on an intelligence check with a DC equal to 10 plus the level of the chosen spell. Doesn't specify here whether you can do this on friend or foe. You know, it's both, really. So by knowing the true name of your target, and here's the interesting part, we'll start to dabble into the role-play sort of ramifications and the way this stuff works versus just the mechanical. If the DM just simply says, these are your adventuring companions, you've been with them through various dungeons and, you know, whatever, or even if you come to the table and say, hey, dude, I want to play an Onomancy wizard, is it cool if, like, I have him, this fighter in my group, as the brother of, you know, my brother, and we want to be tag team together? That's wonderful, right? That's always cool flavor for the DM to say, okay, you guys are siblings. But no sort of extract name would ever need to be made against your brother. You know his true name. Therefore, you can always cast Nullify on him, or you can always take advantage of that nullification resonant against him so that you can remove some sort of harmful effect on him. So that's a cool thing, right? Puppetry. The first time the named creature takes damage from the spell, you can knock the creature prone or push or pull it 10 feet. And then Sympathy. If the named creature, this one's awesome, is within range of the spell, you can target the creature with the spell even if you can't see the creature or it has total cover against the spell. That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. The fact that you can... Now remember, we're looking at the wizard spell list. Yes, I know you have Bless and Bane, so it's not like your fighter brother, who you know his true name already, is on the other side of a door and he's within range. You're not just necessarily going to be throwing heals at him, but it's just very cool that you can haste him without actually seeing him just because you know his true name, as long as he's within range of the spell. So pretty cool. As I said, that next part, Inexorable Pronouncement, you get 2 new resonants, so you have potentially 4, and then you can keep swapping one out. And then Relentless Naming. You have learned how to bypass a named creature's defenses against certain types of damage. When you cast a spell that deals damage to a creature whose true name you speak as part of casting the spell, you can cause the spell to deal force or psychic damage to the creature instead of the spell's normal damage type. That's pretty damn powerful. Changing things, damage types to psychic damage, is huge when you're attacking a demon in hell and you want to throw Meteor Swarm at him or something like that, right? Imagine just the visuals that are conjured up when you think of a psychic Meteor Swarm, all right? That's the epitome of headache, right? So there it is. You know, there's the mechanical stuff. This is not my thing. This is something from Unearthed Arcana. As I said, it's not official stuff. It's play tested. But the fact that I'm noticing this trend of all these different Unearthed Arcana things being put as articles on D&D Beyond, they've got a video on it, obviously. These are always things that are looked at. I believe there's a lot, and I think the rumor is, maybe it's not a rumor, I just haven't confirmed it myself, that the Artificer is something that's possibly going to be included officially in the new release of the Eberron book coming out within a month or 2 here. You know what I mean? And that was something that started in Unearthed Arcana. So the stuff in UA is essentially just a bunch of different things that are taken with feedback and run through the grinder by the designers until they figure out that it's play tested enough to actually include it, to add more. So there may be some potential here. And what I love about this is the excitement of how roleplay-wise, as I said, you can have two PCs agree to be siblings of each other, and one of them is going to be an Onomancy wizard, and he knows the true name of his brother. And he can maybe come to the table and say, hey, DM, are we going to be starting together as a group, or are we meeting for the first time in a tavern? You know, are we in a group together where we can say that we've been traveling for a year and a half, and they've all divulged their true name. But maybe there's a key PC in the group that hasn't divulged the true name. Maybe it's a tiefling warlock or something like that, and for whatever reason there's something, some lineage or some link to their demon devil bloodline or whatever that they don't want to reveal their true name. That brings some cool flavor to the game because the Onomancy wizard can't influence that PC and help them in the same way, but it adds some roleplay into, dude, you need to tell me your character's true name because I can help you. You know what I mean? And what I really like about it that's brought a lot of interest to me and why I wanted to put the video out is, as I said, yeah, there's some mechanical things here that we can wrangle through, and whether they're balanced or not, that's not for me entirely to decide. Sure, I can simply take this and say I want to put it in my campaign. Every DM has that right. But as a blanket sort of, this is something that should be available in 5th edition D&D for everyone, what I really enjoy, though, is the aspect of true name. As they sort of highlighted and mentioned briefly in the video, there may be an entire campaign worth of material that I, as the DM, as the creative individual, need to start thinking about and work my way through so that I can provide true names to something that previously wasn't there. Giving something a name automatically gives a level of depth to that NPC, to that creature, where previously I didn't want to think about the 20 goblins. But now, in order for the Onomancy wizard in my party to have the same influence and effect on a combat against 20 goblins as the evocation wizard would, he would need to know those true names. And kind of as I sort of alluded to, yeah, I may not actually write 20 names on the sheet because, again, if it's a throwaway combat and it's just something I want to take up some gameplay, the PCs aren't really, you know, the real-life players aren't really going to want to write down 20 goblin names that they're never going to meet again. It doesn't matter. But just me coming up with ideas on, you know what, that one goblin shaman does have a true name. And the reason why he's called Giant Bane, you know what I mean? And it starts to just feed some creativity as I start to brainstorm the names of things now, the essence of that. And as they talked about in the video, the true name of something can have massive ramifications throughout the world. And I love that this thing sparks so much roleplay from both the player and interaction and involvement by the dungeon master in order to make this become a viable option. So I just think it's pretty cool, and I wanted to talk about it, and I did. That's all. Thanks everyone for watching, and take care.